Is it theoretically impossible? Could I write out a plan to tear down every coal power plant in the country, replace it with wind or solar thermal or something else, build massive ability to store and transmit energy irrespective of the cost? I could probably pencil that out on paper. But when you really look at the economic and technological barriers to doing so, it's just not going to happen. You've got technologies that, you know, we hear lots, and you may hear lots in the course of this conversation, of very optimistic numbers about how cheap clean energy alternatives are right now. Wind only costs 7 cents a kilowatt hour, and solar thermal is down to 12 cents, or, you know, you'll see these numbers thrown around. But those numbers are best case situations. Those are numbers when the wind is blowing and the sun is shining. Those numbers don't include the costs of transmission. They don't include the costs of storing energy for when the sun is not shining. So when you really start to look at the deployed costs, when you start to get to the level where you're not just putting in a little bit of wind here and a little bit of solar here, but you're replacing the entire base load of the power grid completely, those technologies are just not scalable at any price that anyone is likely to be willing to pay. So that's the problem that we're faced with. It's a sort of price performance problem that's going to get in the way of doing this. So what we can do over the next year, 10 years, if we're smart about it, is deploy a whole lot of these new technologies, as well as investing a whole lot in research and development and demonstration of various parts of the technology that aren't really there yet. And if we do it in the right way, we can do that in a way that actually drives the real deployed costs of these technologies down, because there are learning curves, all sorts of things that we learn when we start building and manufacturing and deploying new technologies that drive those costs down. But for us to really accomplish that effectively, that has to be the explicit objective of the policy, not to go build a bunch of not cost-effective windmills or solar plants that, you know, you're going to get to 10 or 15 or maybe 20% market penetration, and the whole thing is just going to be both unsustainable economically and probably provoke pretty significant backlash as people's energy costs really start to sort of rise dramatically. So we need to do this in a way that's sustainable not only ecologically, but that is sustainable also economically and politically, or the whole thing is just going to sort of crash and burn on just the sort of constraints in any political economy to mandating sort of changes that cost the economy and cost individual consumers much more to pay for something that is really, really sort of central to our well-being, living standards, and economy.